It says we're live.
Well, how about
you guys can see us? Will you do the little click thing over there and tell us? I see everybody on my end. No one's chatting just yet. John, how many people do we have?
Well, I was trying to look, and I can't get it to work, so I'm just not good.
Can anyone hear us? Oh, Lincoln Lodge says hello all.
That was me.
You got 10 of us out there, but I'm my screen's dark. So.
Oh, here we go.
All right, guys. We'll go ahead and get this thing started. I'm Brian, Airhead Garage, working on a '67 Pontiac Firebird, and the guy over this way, he's the doctor of these Firebirds.
The doctor is in, right? Yeah, I playing with a couple of birds. The biggest one is my dad's '68 Firebird convertible, the Lamborghini. I got to tinker a little bit today on it, so hopefully I get back to it tomorrow because the missus is going out of town. So.
Uh-oh. Unsupervised.
Unsupervised fun.
Yes.
And then this guy down here.
Louis from First Generation Garage.
Louis.
Yep. Louis from First Generation Garage. Working on 268 convertibles. Hopefully I start working back tomorrow because I was under the weather for a couple of days. And also get back to a couple of guys there. I know I owe Al from Keeping It Simple Garage a call. I will call you out soon. And just here hanging out with you guys tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm Mike from Lake and Lodge Garage, live from Cleveland, Tennessee tonight. So I'm not in the shop. So
it's a real place. It really is.
It is a thing. It's right near Chattanooga. You can look at it.
I didn't believe him, but it's real. I thought he was pulling my leg.
Cleveland, Tennessee.
Cleveland, Tennessee. It's a nice little town. And I'm currently finishing up a '67 Firebird convertible.
How about that?
Uh-oh. John, you're frozen on my end, John.
No.
I can see John. Good.
Can you see John?
Oh, well. As long as you can hear me, I guess that's what we're going to go with. No one wants to see my face. So
we can see you. You're good.
Well, yeah.
All right.
All right. So let's see. We got Aaron K's in tonight. Chucky's here tonight. Bill O'Brien. Tony's here. Terry's here. James is here. Jim and Kelly are here.
Hey, all right.
Russ is here. Man, we got all kinds of people tonight.
Yeah. Good crowd.
Well, how about that?
Tonight is going to be a mix of cars and YouTube.
It's a good mix.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
How those two mix, I don't know. But apparently they do. So if you guys have questions over there, type them up. We'll answer them as they come in. Or do our best.
Anything goes. It's car related, YouTube related. You can even ask why we thought it was a good idea to stand in front of a camera in our garage and tell everybody all about what we do. So, to stand in front of a camera.
Because we're loco. All right. Which one of us had the YouTube channel first? Do we know?
Mine's 4 years old, so I just had my 4-year birthday on tax day.
I think I'm doing it for like 7 years.
Really?
I think you got me beat, Lou.
Yeah.
I started the summer of 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only been doing it for almost 2 years now, I think. But yeah, probably a little over 2 years.
Well, who should start first? The senior or the youngest at YouTube?
Oh, I think the oldest one. Louis should go first.
So what's the fuck? Okay, why did I do YouTube? Right. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when I started my '67 Firebird project, being my first bird out of the pack, I was going nuts. There was nothing on the computer, very little stuff, and it always reflected back to Camaro, which there is some things that are similar if you're gonna do like body panels, but that's about it. When I wanted to really find out about like more information, all the crap that I know now that I have in this head, of these Firebirds, I really couldn't find nothing. So I remember going to Barnes and Nobles and getting a whole bunch of books together and reading here, reading there. Maybe out of 10 books, I buy 2 at a time, as I could afford it. A lot of magazines, the Hemmings and all that kind of stuff back then. Anyway, when YouTube was available, I just my nephew, my little nephew, I think he was 12 at the time, and he said, "Hey, uncle, you should do YouTube." I said, "What the hell is YouTube?" And then he showed me, and when he showed me, I said, "Go ahead, take out the phone, let's go." And I started it. So if you see the very first videos that I have, like a whole bunch of pictures of bodybuilders behind me, and I think it was a speed bag. I told you I used to lift and box. That was in my mother's garage. And later on, it was another garage, this friend of mine's that rented me that garage until I came here to Pennsylvania and I bought my own place. But about 7 years ago, I started YouTube. And the reason I wanted to was to share the love of Firebird and try to bring Firebird to the map. Because there wasn't a lot of Firebird things even back then when I started. I remember that. And I slowly got attention, but it kind of gets to me that you put so much information out there and it's a hit or a miss,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think none of us is doing it for the money because because if I was doing it for the money, there's no way in hell Louis could have 6 Firebirds. I'll tell you that right now. Okay. But I it's a blessing because I feel that I made a dent into the Firebird world with my name. I think even when I pass away and God is ready for me, I think people will still remember Louis for a long time for what I have shown on these cars. And the friends that I have picked up, also all around you guys and all around the world that I probably will never get to meet in person. But it's been a blast and that kind of look, that kind of view of it.
Sure.
But as of doing it for the money, I really never started it for no money. And now that I'm making the money to do it, it's not. It's just fun to do it, I guess.
You might be able to buy a set of gaskets
Right now,
with the money.
the Permatex 2 that Mike said I need. That's what I call for right now.
What a swap.
Do the gum buggy.
Yep. So that's my story with YouTube.
All right, Brian, I guess you're up next.
Well, let me need a little help here.
And that's just a cigar, right?
It's just a cigar, and it's 101 today in Phoenix.
Ooh.
Just gonna keep worse and worse and worse and worse.
We're gonna be laughing at you now.
Yeah.
Yeah. A cigar is like a good woman. You got to keep entertained. All right. So my story is I was watching YouTube for years, but just when I needed to fix something or do something, like I had a house in the mountains that had like the floors were bowing, and I watched a video where the guy went underneath the house and used a bottle jacked it up, and then shimmed some, cinder blocks to, that's all YouTube was for me.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever reason, sometime in the summer of 19, I started watching videos on guys just trashing the Porsche Boxster. It's a girl's car. It's a POS. It blows up. It's a bomb. And as a Porsche guy, I'm like, well, yeah, if you don't change the oil and you don't maintain it the way you're supposed to, of course it's going to grenade. Duh. So I found a guy that was a kid, I should say a kid. He was like 25. He had a 2001 Porsche Boxster for sale with a blown motor for $1,000.
Wow.
And body was perfect. Motor was gone. It was a big, it took out a chunk on the top of the block. So it was completely gone. I just did videos on how to pull the motor, how to put a used motor in it, and I just did it for fun. I was just recording what I was doing and blah, blah, blah. Well, I got the car running. I was done with the car in my mind, so I sold it. And then about that time, my brother passed away,
Mm.
and his wife and kid were like, "We're going to take this Firebird to the junkyard." And I'm like, "No, you're not." My whole entire life growing up, it was Keith and the Firebird, Keith and the Firebird. That's all we ever heard about. It never ran that I know of. I don't ever remember ever seeing it run in my life, but apparently it did. And so I took the truck, grabbed a trailer, drove, 12 hours to Oklahoma, loaded it up, and brought it back here. And
Ta-da. Huh.
yeah, and, it's you rub two nickels together and you throw it at the car and you make a video. And what developed was that the people in Oklahoma would watch my progress. So I would do it every Friday. I'd put out a video of what I did that week on the car.
Mhm.
And that's what started the little going. And so that's kind of my introduction to how I started YouTube. Who's next? John?
I guess that we're going to do it in that order. I reckon it's going to work out to be me. Now, this I guess, is story time with the doctor, so you might want to sit down for this. But, let's say I just said I had my 4-year anniversary, right? Now, 5 years ago, I never watched YouTube prior to that. Never did anything with it. I knew it existed, but I didn't watch it. Then the wife introduced me to a YouTube channel. She thought it was kind of entertaining and humorous. We both watched it. We all know him as Derek, and it's from the Byscript Garage guy there. So, quite the entertainer, knowledgeable. But for some reason, I figured if that guy could have a go of it, why couldn't I? I thought maybe I could share what I do in my garage at home with just a garage. I mean, I've built cars. I do this. You can still get good results. I can show us on YouTube. Now, the biggest challenge for me is I was hardcore introvert. 5 years ago, I wouldn't be talking to any of you guys right now. No way. I would have went someplace. I would have kept to myself. I would have kept quiet. So this has been a huge point of growth for me, even to be able to talk to people, even in public. So it's been a win. So it was just my kids got involved. They pushed me to it. Whitney told me I should do it. And coworkers said, if this is the crap you build in your garage, you should be sharing that with you. You might be surprised. Some people think that's cool. And like Louis said, the things that's happened from it now, I've definitely learned how to use my voice. I speak to people, and I've made some really awesome friends and connections. And we got a really cool community and opportunities galore. I mean, I now have a GTO judge in my possession that would have never happened if I never did this. So there's just so many really awesome opportunities that really worked out good. And again, it's not for the money. You make a few bucks, but you can't pay the mortgage. But you can buy a few pieces here and there, and it could grow to be something a little bigger, I reckon. But that was never the goal. I wanted to share what I do here to build confidence in those who think they might want to do this, share the good, the bad, or my way, the right way, or the wrong way, however you look at it. Because YouTube, no one's proven anything on YouTube. You got to trust that person either give you good information or it's bad. It's kind of hard to gauge, and unfortunately, you can't always tell. So what I try to do is prove it right in front of your eyes what I'm doing. To prove what I'm doing is actually what I say. But that was just my theory behind it. I wasn't just going to be just strictly an entertainer. Every once in a while, I might make it fun. Most of the time, it's just right to it, get to the point, and get out. So that was just my way. So.
Yeah. For me, I've never
Here you are.
never been accused of being an introvert. But I started out just I wanted to build a car. I kind of had it in my head and started doing research, and I came across this Firebird, so I bought it, did a lot more research, and mapped out these three guys and kind of followed their builds and learned from their energy and their efforts, and spent a lot of time watching Juby Mays as well from Amazing Metalworks, another really, really good resource for this, for body panels and that sort of thing. And, I started the channel mostly just to kind of keep my dad informed. And I don't live real close to my dad anymore. And, he used to be my crew chief when I raced and stuff. So we're pretty close. And, I figured this was a great way to kind of keep him informed, I remember building, race cars in the winter while he was in Florida. We're building chassis, and I remember sending him stacks of 110 photos, like 35 millimeter photos, and just go to Walmart and put them in an envelope and send them to Florida. And so he could just drool over them. Right. And we had one rule: if he wasn't there, he couldn't bitch about it, period. And that's kind of how I got into it. I mean, I never get into it for the money. It is an honor, though, to kind of, after doing the research, and I work a little different from you guys. We all do things different, but like Jonathan says, what you do is you Mr. Fireman too, Roger there. He was a great resource for me, a Camaro guy. But I tend to go online and I find guys that work like I work, do the same types of things I like to do and work the way I work. In other words, the standard of quality, there's some hacks out there, man. There's some guys on YouTube that should, no. There's some scary things happening out there in YouTube land. But, I just found like you three guys and a couple others and just kind of said, you know what, I can do that too. And just kind of see where it goes. But it was mostly just to keep my dad informed. Yep.
That's one of the things I guess I forgot to leave out, because the other thing was, this stuff stays probably potentially forever on the internet. So if I ever make it to a retirement home, I'm old and brittle and my elderly age, I can click on the TV, the hot little nurse walks by and go, that's me right there. So I'll always have this reference. That's my real true, I guess you'd say, motivation behind all of it. Secret, we just don't tell anybody. So I can be that young hot stud that I used to be on the YouTubes. So.
And for me, it's all
prime.
Yeah, back in my prime, that's what I used to do.
Listen here, sweetie.
We had gasoline powered cars, and it was cool.
I had my own song.
That's right. That's your own song.
Yep.
And another key point to all of this is, it's a great way to document a build. I mean, if you're building a car that, if someday you're going to sell it, and for you to get top value of it, there's no mystery. Anybody can look at this series and know exactly what they're getting.
Yep, there is no hidden stuff. I sold one of my cars that way. One of my very first cars I did on YouTube was that Project LeBron's. And the guy came to buy it and pay for it, and the stupid thing wouldn't start. It just crank. Still handed me full asking price, because the only reason I'm giving it because I know what I bought. I saw it on YouTube. I saw you drive it. I know the transmission shifts. I know all the metalwork's already been done to it to this point. Your price is more than fair. Yeah. So I was a win for me. So.
Yeah. And that's a big deal. I mean, hey, if I had an opportunity to buy two cars of equal value and one was documented on YouTube and one was a complete mystery, what would you buy?
I'd rather have one have some pictures or video or some proof what's been done to it. So
exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's like that Porsche Boxster that I had. I bought it for $1,000 and I documented the engine change and all the little maintenance that I did to bring it up to snuff. And when it came time to sell it, when the person that came to buy it, they said the only reason we're buying this car is because we can see what you've done to it. There's no you saying, "Oh, I've already done this, I've done that." They've seen it. They know it's factual.
Yeah.
And he laid out all the cash like on our counter, and I was like, okay, good. But funny thing is, like 2 days later, he calls me and says it's leaking the transmission. It wasn't leaking when sorry.
No warranty. Yeah.
It's a real thing. You want to be honest with people, but it is also community too. Like Jonathan said, we've kind of all come to know each other, and there's a group of people that we kind of, do all this stuff with. So it's been great. And you don't want to check your receipts.
You don't need receipts.
I never tracked how much I put into this car. I didn't even pay attention. I just said, there goes my kids' inheritance, their college fund. I had a no budget bill. I've never done that my entire life, but I sold all my other cars. I really never planned on doing cars ever again. I brought this thing home just to clean it up, to sell it. And then it turned into a project. And I wish I was doing YouTube at that point, but I wasn't. I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of started. This car started back up for me. I'd retired from building cars for almost 10 years at that point. I hadn't touched them. I just didn't have time, or just life didn't allow it. I had an inventory, but it was time to clean house, so I started selling everything. But that changed around. I bought everything or more back, and now I outgrow the garage again. So
Yeah, that's how it happens. Hey, let's take a quick break here and answer a couple of these questions. We
Oh,
seem
yeah.
to be getting a lot of questions about thermostats for Pontiac 400s, and what should the normal running temperature be?
hot,
Hotter than a cannon?
hot.
Yeah,
Pontiac was never known for running cool.
very good question. That's a good question.
Yeah.
People see like 210 and they freak out. I'm about to blow a head gasket. Blah, 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 blah. That's not true. That's fine. Okay. And I don't know why, but people always like, oh, these Pontiacs run hot or they get overheat. I never had a problem with a Pontiac overheating on me.
Yeah.
Okay. It's normal, like John said, it's normal for them to run a little hot. Believe it or not, that's what makes your cylinders and everything work correctly. Okay. Now, if it's overheated, it's something different. You know, maybe a mechanical failure, thermostat failure, something, water pump. But if you see 210, don't freak out. As for me, I put 190 thermostat, never had a problem. Never. And I drove in my car at 100 degrees outside for a long time. I remember my 67, when I was in New York, I knew the highway real good. So I was confident. In Pennsylvania, I still use the GPS if I'm going to go far away. I don't know it that good yet. But in New York, I knew New York like the back of my hands. And I would drive that car everywhere. The 67 Firebird, 455 in it. You know, it's a monster. Okay. And I never had overheating problems at all. Zero.
Yeah. You don't really need to get too concerned until you're above 230.
Yeah, that's your
With a cap on, that's where shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you know, Pontiac with the 400s, especially, we're super paranoid about airflow because there isn't a lot of hole there.
No.
So you gotta, you know, don't sleep on all the proper seals and the plates and
Get the air through the radiator.
Yeah, get all the air through the radiator you can.
That's why Pontiac did the 23-inch core, not the 21-inch core. So there was some differences. So when they say this Camaro radiator is going to fit in your Firebird, I can't tell how many times I see that. Someone goes, I can't get my fan shroud to fit it anymore. I bought the radiator online. It says Camaro and Firebird. I said, well, Camaro big block would have worked, but Camaro would not. It's too narrow. It's 21-inch core.
Yep.
So I guess the overheating thing, I don't know. I guess I never had a problem overheating, but they do run warmer than I would hope sometimes. But things really taking airflow and then timing. That's a big one on Pontiac. You'll cook them. So those things you got to check. So. Yeah, I guess at the core. Yeah. Well, see, we had some other questions that we missed back in the beginning too. Like, how do we strip paint?
Yeah.
I built a whole new car. There's no paint to strip. There's nothing left. I put everything new. So.
Well, you still got to take off the EDM there.
Yeah, just a little bit. That sands off pretty quick with the DA. But a lot of times I'll take it to media blasting. But the question was besides sandblasting. And I've been exploring with that because that GTO that I bought, I decided I don't want to have it dipped, but I don't think I want to have it media blasted. So I was debating maybe some chemical strippers. I've never really used them. And I guess I'm going to do a little bit of research, but I haven't found anything yet that I like. So
I've been using the metal conditioner. The Eastwood has it. Harbor Freight has it. And that worked really, really well for me. I mean, I had that thing down to a really nice tooth and bare metal very, very fast. Yep, that rig.
Yeah, I've got right here. One of those, so
they're not clean.
It's about $200, but man, oh man, is it just zoop, zoop, zoop.
And they have a bunch of different discs for the rolls for those. They have some with sandpaper, some with the expanded foam.
Right.
I like them. I've had very, very good luck. I had a friend who had a 57 Chevy, who had a rear passenger door that was kind of stove in and a lot of Bondo in it. He brought it over and I hit it with that thing, cleaned it right down the middle, was able to, pin pull all the dents as much as possible. It really made a huge difference being able to get the nice clean metal.
Sure.
Yeah, good radiator. That, like Jonathan said, the 23-inch or, Even the newer 23-inch cold case with the really wide tubes, those work good.
Like 1 inch wide, 2 core, something like that.
Yep.
Whatever they do. Yeah.
Yep.
I just ordered one of those radiators that Louis recommended about 2 months ago from eBay.
Yep.
So I haven't installed it yet because we've been doing body work, but I'm looking forward to it.
There's a good one. James Judkins, water wetter. Guaranteed to drop 5 to 7 degrees. You know, we used to run water wetter in the race cars all the time because we weren't allowed to run antifreeze. So all you could do was water wetter. And you're right. If you didn't have it in there, it made a difference. And all that really does is change the surface tension of the fluid a little bit, changes it from, you know, whatever water is to a point where it actually wets out nice and you know, flows over the metal better, and it causes less bubbles. So that's a big deal. It's really true.
So, but would
reduce
it
the
work
surface
if you were
tension?
doing the 50-50 mix?
Yeah. Yeah. It works with antifreeze too.
Okay. All right. I might have to try that.
Yeah. It's true. And there's another good point there, James. Clearing the pockets. So like with the Chevy motors, I always put vent tubes because with the Chevy heads come up in the back, there is the area where, you know, the head technically in the front crosses over for the water jacket. In the back, you can actually drill the intake, put 2 AN fittings in there, and put a tube up to the front. Because if you don't, you'll end up with an air pocket back there. So if you have a head that has a crossover in the back, but the intake is just plated it off right there, vent it. Get a tube up to the front, get that air out of there, because it makes a huge difference.
That's that racer technology stuff, huh, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, everybody looked at it and it's like, what is that? Well, you've got a natural air pocket. You cannot help but have an air pocket at the top of that head. And we always did that on our racing motors. And I only blew one. Old Mexico. She'd been around a while.
Now, there are some theories that the Pontiac being the heater core port on the passenger rear head, if you don't run a heater core and you just plug that off, it's probably the same science. It actually runs cooler if you actually will circulate that back with a restrictor. And even the different size of restrictor, how much flowing out of the back of the head back to the front would affect it. So I've done some reading on it, but I guess I haven't drank the Kool-Aid yet to prove it. So, but
yeah,
it's an interesting thought. So it's probably some of the same science behind what you're saying.
Well, you think about it, it's a dead end panel because those heads are reversible, right? In the front, they have that crossover. In the back, it's dead ended. And like you said, the heater core on the Pontiacs help with that. But if you don't use it,
yeah, if you cap it off or don't use it, then that might affect it. Or if it's flowing too fast, whatever. And then, so it might be some of the same science. So,
yeah.
Well, how about that?
Anyway, all right. Let's get back to some YouTube stuff. What do you guys use for camera equipment?
Yes. I guess that's my secret to that, right? You ready for this? Ready for my secret? I'm cheap. I don't like spending money. I have only bought like maybe a camera stand. I bought a microphone, which I've lost because I suck at keeping stuff. But I think I've invested less than maybe $200 or $300 in equipment. And I used to use my phone, and I get an upgraded phone for my work, so I don't even have to pay for that. So I don't know. I use an iPhone. I don't know, 15, 14. I don't know where it's at. Seems to work pretty good. I understand I could probably do better with a different camera, but I'm also not best with technology. I can record here on this thing, and it automatically like goes to I can put it on the iMovie app, and it's touchscreen and it's user friendly. And you can upload it to your cloud. I have a laptop that I can use, or I have a tablet in case I want to use the bigger touchscreen, and it's all in the cloud. So it makes it pretty easy for me. I'm not the best when it comes to technology. I've actually grown a whole lot in that area too since doing YouTube. So
yeah, that's another thing I'd like to touch on is editing software. What do you use, Louis, for a camera?
My phone, my cell phone.
Yeah.
That's
Android, right, Louis? Android.
It's an Android. Yep. Yeah. I don't think I spent money on nothing for YouTube yet.
You didn't make it yet. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I seen your tripods. I seen all your heavy gear over there.
You got a camera crew I've seen a few times carrying the camera.
I had an iPhone 11 that I started out with, and it worked fine, but it was the lowest model for memory, and it was just a pain in the ass because I kept filling it up, and what a nightmare. So I ended up upgrading to an iPhone 16 just like a couple 2-3 months ago, and what a difference that makes.
Yep.
But the biggest struggle I had with all of it was audio.
Mhm.
And I went to that Rhodes microphone, that two-piece, two little square blocks there. Worked fantastic. Really made it all the difference in the world. But before that, I'd have whole segments that I couldn't use because the audio was so jacked in it, you couldn't even hear it. So yeah, that's what I use too. iPhone seems to be the thing of choice. I do hear people saying they use like GoPros and stuff like that, but
Mike, I have a question for Mike. I see you using a microphone now.
Yeah.
Is it, right? Okay. Does it warn you when it's off?
No.
That's why I don't believe in it. I have a couple of them.
So the only thing it does give you is there are 2 LEDs on the back of it, and the little box that sits on by the camera, the one that's plugged into the phone. It has 2 lights on it, and if one of them is out, it's not linked to the. So you can tell if it's not there, but you got to be smart enough to look at it, which occasionally I'm not. So
how about you send me a link to that mic, because I lost some good video on that because my mic they turned off.
Yeah,
me too.
I did not try to do a voiceover. I just lost that video.
Yeah, me too.
I tend to turn it on, those microphones on, and leave it on all day, and the battery stays going for a good 8-10 hours.
Wow.
So it's not terrible.
Yep.
The other thing that's nice about the 16 is this the magnetic base they have now.
Mm-hmm.
That clicks right onto a bunch of different stuff. I tried that one too, Brian. I didn't have as good a luck with that one.
I have that one.
Yeah, I had that one and it left me hanging. So
yeah.
I like the sound quality, but it didn't record the sound one time.
It screwed me a couple of times, and I gave up on it. I almost bashed it with a hammer.
Yeah, you gotta watch that mic.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than getting all the way through a segment
Oh man,
you had no audio in it. It's like
no.
It's frustrating, especially like Jonathan's brought up many times. It is hard to do this. I mean, you have to kind of be thinking through all your steps, thinking through what you want to talk about. You've got to stop what you're doing, set up the cameras, and it takes a lot of work to share this stuff. It's clearly, if we're paid by the hour, we're making about 36 cents a minute or an hour.
Yeah, that's big money. Big money.
Yeah, we're not we're not making money on this deal, that's for sure. But
I'm gonna give you one of my YouTube secrets here. You guys ready for this? Get your pen and paper ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
We discussed that it does take a little more time, and it does look like we know what we're doing 100% of the time. But you know how cars kind of like a left and a right side? I'll let you on a secret. Look carefully. You should be working on the right side, which is easily visible here because of the garage setup. Take a look at the left side. I've already done it. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Because I know how to do this. I'll just bang it out in my sleep and I forget what to highlight. So I'll refresh my memory, do the opposite side, then I come back to the side to show you all how it's done. So I can, in my brain, like you said, highlight the important parts. Where do I need to get the camera at? What I'm going to visualize. So I make it look effortlessly because I just got done doing the other side. Just letting you know. So.
Yeah, I do the same thing mostly so I don't look like an idiot.
That's part of it. Yeah, part of
it. Yeah, no, it makes a difference, man. It really does. What do you guys use? Jonathan already touched on a little bit, but what do you guys use for editing software? iMovie?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have access from work to Adobe Premiere.
That's what I use.
I tried Adobe Premiere and I was just like, it's overcomplicated for what I'm doing. If I was going to make a movie, absolutely.
A basic
YouTube video, iMovie. It's like free and you click, and it's easy.
Yeah, it's easy. So
yeah, I use Premiere Pro as well. I just kind of started with that and stuck with it because I tried a bunch of different things at first, and I'm researching what's everybody using, and I will say this though, Premiere Rush, which is the base version of Premiere Pro, works just as good. For what we do, you could totally get away with that. I happen to have Premiere Pro, but so I use that. But when I was doing a Premiere Rush, I didn't really see a big difference, to be honest with you. I thought there'd be more of a step up, but there really isn't.
Yeah, I tried a few other softwares and it was just not user friendly. Again, I'm not super tech savvy, so I went back to what I could touch. You know, I'm a tangible kind of person. When I get my hands on, I can make it work. So I went with the iMovie version.
Your kids, grandkids, and hot nurses will have great memories to look back on.
Yep, and they can all discuss how the trunk deck got bent.
I like that one today. I heard
that was
with
good,
Don.
I like that one. That was funny.
Yeah, I was feeling a little wound up that day. So
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna mess with the trunk deck video until I realized that fit like absolute crap. I mean, just 100% crap. And I was like, well, that's what I'm going to use, line everything up. So might as well get the Trunk-O-Matic out, and we'll show you Trunk-A-Liner. Trunk-A-Liner is what we call that. The chunk of wood from an old bed we had cut up. It was like, well, it looked cool, but I couldn't resist. So
Yeah, I liked your video too on getting the top of the door and quarter panel to line up. That was really a poignant point. Because if you get too far with that, you got to do the Juby door adjuster there.
Yeah,
and that works. It does work, but it's far nicer to just grab a ratchet strap and tug that.
Yeah, and even though I guess that's why I got the old angle meter out, the old crappy cell phone, to prove that I was actually leaning out some. And it wasn't that way until I pulled the bottom of the rocker panels in. Now, I didn't measure the width of the rocker panel prior because it was rusted and falling apart. There's a chance that car was maybe a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch wider. I've seen weird measurements on that width variation. So I'm just pulling the car back to straight and making it work. I'll tell you, that door lines up great now. So it's just, you got to get creative. You know, these cars were not perfect to begin with, and I'm going to keep beating it in people's heads. But the goal is make the left match the right, and what's it look like? So,
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
So, do you guys have any secrets for the audience and me? What do you do to get more hits? What do you do to, I'm
going to do the next degree for this one.
Everybody talks about the algorithm.
I pay for it. No, I really don't know. I haven't figured it out entirely yet. I mean, I put the cards on the table. The whole last year, up to about 2 months ago, I was very disappointed and frustrated. If I was going to make it on YouTube as a superstar or as a plausible income, it was flatline dead. It wasn't going anywhere. And I guess you could probably tell there's been a change in the number of videos I'm putting out per week, because there's been a positive change. It's on a really nice upswing at the moment. So I will have goals when it comes to YouTube. Yes, mine was just to see if I can get monetized, see if I can hit 1,000 subscribers. Again, like Mike said, how do you do it? How do you make it work? I mean, I may have suggested even to Brian, since he's an IT guy, in the very beginning, what I could learn was one view on a video puts it out 7 potentials for someone else to watch. So my infinite wisdom, I had 5 cell phones, a couple tablets, a couple laptops, all the technicians at work in the background. I had my videos on continuous loop when you can do that, trying to stir up business. I mean, I guess you could say it was cheating, but it wasn't, because I'm allowed to do that. But did it work? I don't think it did. But I haven't figured out. Is there really a secret to it? I don't know. So I decided what I would do: just put out the best information I could. You like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. So, but if it's a game, I'm not winning at it. So,
and I think when it comes to SEO, which is called search engine optimization, that's kind of where my background is, and that's when I figured out some stuff. So when you make a video and you put, water pump replacement, and that's all you put, it is so vague and so open, it's not searchable per se. And what I found out is if you add certain words, like think of yourself as a normal person who has a problem, and you're sitting down in front of your computer and you go to Google and you're like, how do I fix ... If you make your title of your video how do I fix ... Then the stuff starts to go like this and goes. And the only thing I can show for proof on that is back in 21, I made a stupid video about how to rebuild a car battery. And the only reason I made it was I needed a video for the week, and I did it, and 1.2 million people later have watched that video.
I'm
And
one.
it's all because I said, "How do you rebuild a car battery?" Was the title.
I gotta check that one out.
Don't.
No, I think a few things that you make a good point there. That the broken bolt video that Louis and I made, thousands of hits, thousands. But the label was, how do you fix a bolt that's broken off deep? And just like you said, you asked the question.
Yep.
The other thing I noticed that helped me a lot towards the last few months was I wasn't good about putting a title on the screen. So on the thumbnail, have a title, because a lot of times people going down through the thumbnails, if there's no title, they don't really know what that video is about. They're not reading the word.
Yeah, that's what I had Brian help me with, and it's a big difference. What a difference!
It makes a difference.
Yeah.
So here's the stats: 50% of people on YouTube are using their phones.
Yep.
And audio is off, so it's visual. So if your thumbnail says "how to fix ... and a picture of what that problem is, it registers.
Okay.
So that's a big thing. Remember, these are just, we're doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Huge,
I do that. I'll just sit there and scroll through and then put some shit in my watch later folder, right?
Yep.
And it has to catch my eye. Unless it's you guys, and I just put it in automatically.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I've done research when it comes to tags. A lot of people say tags are not important. Other people say tags are important. In my case, it's almost a 50-50.
Mhm.
So when I do my tags, I'll do, how do I fix a Pontiac water pump? Or tips or tricks on replacing a Pontiac water pump in my tags. And it works, but I it's one of those, did it work or was it something else? Like, how, I don't know. Some days it's just like
Yeah, I haven't figured it out, so I'm not gonna. I don't know. Like I said, if I was a master at that, then I would be hanging out with Derek at Vice Grip Garage. And so, if anybody out there knows him, I'd love to put his Firebird together. But I haven't seen the '68 Firebird he used to own. I think he sold it. So
Yeah, I think that one was one of the ones he got rid of.
yeah, well, that one didn't go so well for him. He needed someone like us to go help him with that car. Is what it should have been. So.
He came right through our area a couple weeks ago. I'm like, I'm watching him drive, and I'm like, holy shit, he's just down the road from here.
But that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was.
And I think what Derek, I honestly become an IT guy, and when I would look at his videos and I would kind of do SEO stuff on it, I think for Derek, it was the fact that he was like, Oldsmobile, Chevy, Chevelle, this, that. It was constant, like different stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't overcomplicated. It was quick and easy, and it was a story. It was you knew he was going to get it running, but you watched and followed along with it.
Yeah, see where to put the duct tape at. I get it. So.
Right, and there was a beginning and an end to each episode, right? That's what we do a lot of times. Is
it takes a long time.
Progressive, right? We're working through stages. What he does is, it might be a 2-hour video, but he starts the beginning and has an end, and he's either in the side of the road or he got it on.
That's
You're trying to upload a video that's an hour long. I couldn't imagine trying to upload a 2-hour long video. Oh God. Ugh. Hey.
But so
here's what Ryan's head's at.
So here's the thing on long videos, and Louis can contest to this. Louis put out 5 little 10-minute videos or whatever it was on one of his projects.
Yeah,
and I
the
took all
GTO.
5 little videos.
Oh
and
yeah.
made them long videos, an hour and 15 minutes, and that's what got him over the hump.
Mhm.
Monetization so long, they watch it, and that's where you get your hours.
Yeah, that was the Pontiac GTO
The
trunk
GTO truck. Yeah.
and the deck lid for the white car that I did, the 68 Firebird.
So there's a lot of controversy around that. What is the optimal length? What holds people's attention for our type of stuff?
I've experimented all directions, and nah, I can't tell you.
Yeah, I don't
I-
give a
I-
shit.
I-
I just whatever it takes.
My goal is 15, 20 minutes, and that's kind of where I actually like to wrap it up. So.
Just
So-
make as much videos as you can. That's it.
So at the 8-minute mark, YouTube will automatically insert an advertisement.
hmm
So you want to basically be a minimum of 8 to 9 minutes. But then beyond that, every 8 minutes, so watch Derek's Bicycle Garage. How many commercials in an hour do you see?
None. I have premium.
Not well, that's because
I
you
hate
have. Come
He's
on.
like, none.
I can only watch the damn Chuck Norris commercial that lasts 30 minutes so many times.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's the thing.
Mr. Cunningham says Derek still has the dadgum Firebird.
The Snowbird.
Oh,
All right, anybody out there know Derek? Tell him that he needs to hire us to fix his car.
Yeah, go straighten that thing out.
Yeah, we get that thing going. Get that Chevy engine out. Well, what?
yeah. Get rid
Yeah,
of the
I'll donate the Pontiac engine. Louis will donate a Pontiac 400.
I got one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I've got a pile of engines in the corner. I'm going to be purging here once my dad's car is out. I'm going to be doing the Vinyl Village Garage Purge. I'll be giving away a lot of stuff. So I'm going to keep some of the goodies, but a lot of things going to go on down the road. So.
Mine just go down the road to Louis' house.
He's got the bird cage. I don't know Pontiac. So.
His
Another
bird
tip.
cage, his little shed is freighted.
So
Ready to
here's something
explode.
else for those guys looking to do a YouTube channel. When you go and watch someone's video the first time, they get credit for that one first time watch. If they watch it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, you get the views, but you don't get the money. They only pay for the first view.
Right. And it's like people like me put videos on continuous loop that or playing in the background. That's probably the why. So
And YouTube tracks your IP address. So it knows who you are based on IPs. Now, I'm kind of in a lucky position because I work for a school district
IP.
and I have 12 schools. Each school has its own IP address.
Yeah.
So I would go in and I would go into a computer lab with 36 computers or something, and I would play my video on all 40 of those computers. People run and walk away and go do something else and then come back. So
I've been missing out.
Okay, so Brian did that. I did that. You guys didn't. I can see a difference.
Yeah, I can see it now. I get it.
Yeah, we have like I think 28 shop technicians, and the majority of the computers, when they weren't looking, I'm logging on in the background, having it going on a continuous loop. So now I haven't done that for about 2 years. So, but to be fair, I did actually do that at one time.
Now I'm going to my nephew's house right now and start all his computers.
make sure different IP addresses.
Yeah.
They have to have different IP addresses.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Well, every rig's got an IP, so
Oh yeah, everybody's tracked.
yeah. I mean, no, you know it. You know
Every
it.
day, I get teachers that will email me or principals and go, "Hey, little Jimmy apparently went someplace he wasn't supposed to. Can you tell us what he went to?" I can tell you where.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'll give it a 5-star review. At 1, yeah, I've seen that before. 5, well, that's new. How is she like? How did she do that? Like,
Oh, I've got some great stories of that, but it's not from mixed company. I've had some employee problems exactly down that lane.
you know, it's And the funny thing is, these kids, they're smart. This
Yeah.
generation,
Oh yeah,
they're smart.
they're savvy.
We have to, as an IT guy, I'm constantly trying to find and close down the loopholes. And every day there's new V tunnels that these kids will go into. And once you're in a V tunnel, you bypass everything
Right.
because the network doesn't see it. It sees the V, it's just whoop, whoop.
The tunneling out.
I bet you it's on YouTube how to do that.
It probably is. There's more tunnels in that school than Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah.
Yes. Us older guys will get that reference. The younger group's going, Hogan's Hero? Space Ghost?
It's probably on YouTube also.
I'm working with a
Oh,
whole bunch of young guys, and the other day I'm like, all right, who in this room knows who Ted Nugent or Grizzly Adams is? And not one of them knew.
Oh.
Shit, guys are killing me.
I get. We're going back down the Wayback Machine, right? Do you remember the little purplish blue inked copy papers you used to get in school? Did you like
Oh yeah, the
that?
mimeograph.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe it
That's
was-
the
you know,
thing. And then
Reason-
the
Reasons
smell of
too.
it, though, it had its own weird smell, though. You can't forget it, right?
Oh yeah.
And Louie's like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
So in our school, if you got detention and you were in the principal's office, that was your job to crank that damn thing.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The mimeograph.
And the
Yeah.
original, if you remember, the original paper was like on wax paper or parchment paper.
Right.
And it was a reverse of
Right.
what was printed.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm showing my age.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
James says his first buzz.
Yep, love that smell. See? Yep. See, everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
So,
well, yeah, that was a thing.
I started talking to my coworkers today, actually. I brought this up. I said, "You guys remember that?" And they looked at me like I was an idiot. I'm like, and of course, you got it. Oh, that's right. You're 20 something. It's like,
Yeah.
dang it. So,
Yeah.
oh,
Shit,
well.
high schools didn't have friggin' Xerox machines until what? The late 80s or early 90s?
Early
Probably
90s. Yeah.
90s.
Yeah. That wasn't
I
a
had-
thing.
I have a team of 7 guys, and they're all 20 somethings. And I said, "Hey guys, hot off the press." And they looked at me like, "Hot off the press? What does hot off the press mean?" And I went, "I got news. I have information." But
Never mind.
Yeah.
I'll send you a text. Yeah.
The only buttons we had when we were kids were kill switches. That was it.
Yep.
I got my text sending me gifts. Like today, I said something to one of them, like, "Did you get that done today?" And he sent me a gift of a cat in a rainstorm. And I'm like, "What is a cat in a rainstorm? What does that mean? Did you or did you not?" Yes, no, black, white.
Secret code, okay? Secret code.
I'm going to chat GTP going, "What does kitty cat and rain emoji mean?" And chat GTP went like this.
That's exactly what I was sent back to him.
Huh.
I hear you.
6 more years. I just got to hang on for 6 more years.
Nah.
Hey, think of it as a challenge.
Ah,
All right, so here we go. So now, of course, we're getting almost a whole hour into all this fun. Anything we want to tell people if they want to do a new channel to do different than what we did, besides jump in and go, "That was a bad idea," or is there any tips for a newbie in case they want to try to do this?
well, I want to do a shout out to my buddy Jack, whose YouTube channel is Outlaw Camper.
Nice.
Not one of his shirts. He's in New York, and his videos, he's smoking, he's drinking and cussing, and he's camping in his backyard. If you don't find the entertainment value in that, it's like,
Yeah.
well,
It is funny how some things get a ton of hits, like barbecue sites. You guys ever watch any of the guys that smoke meat and that stuff?
yeah,
Millions of
Cooking.
hits.
Cooking.
I'd be
Millions.
hungry.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. And I'm like, I got 200.
Dang it.
I'm hungry already thinking about it.
No, I hear you.
I have a tip for everyone who's looking to start, and this is probably best advice: is get yourself like 5 videos, record the 5 videos, upload the 5 videos, and then release them all at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And because when someone finds your video, they're going to go look and see what else you have. And if they only see 1 or 2 videos,
they're gonna forget.
They're like moving on.
That's an excellent
But
point.
if they see 4 or 5 videos, they're going to subscribe and move and watch you and follow you.
Right, they're not going to invest in you if you only got 1 video. They're not going to think you're committed. So,
Yeah,
Right.
that's an excellent point, especially when you're first starting out. Gang up a dozen, 10, 5, whatever, and release them all at one right after another. That's an excellent point, Brian, because that's true.
Yep.
I do that. I'll be like, hey, this guy's
Swap out
interesting.
those
Go
5
check his site to get 2 videos.
yep.
Yep.
So,
And remember, in our generation, it was like every Thursday at 7 p.m. on NBC, you I'm trying to lose service here. You knew every Thursday at 7 o'clock you were going to watch your favorite show.
mhm.
So if you make your videos the same time every day or every week and at the same time, it's that familiarity when it happens.
Well, right. And then when you don't put a video out, they tell all your friends, hey, what happened to that guy? He ain't putting a video out today.
Yeah, that's true.
I do try to
You
hit.
okay? You're in the hospital?
I do try to
Yeah.
hit a minimum of 1 a week, and try to get them out like Saturday afternoon, 1 a week. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3. But that is important too. Is just the regularity of it.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know what I'm going to do this week because
Saturday morning cartoons, baby. When I was a kid, you knew Saturday morning. That was your time for your show. So,
Yeah. Dukes of Hazzard on Friday night, man.
Mm-hmm.
These kids today are like, what are you talking about? I just go to Netflix and watch the
Watch it
entire
on
season.
demand when I
overnight.
want. Right. There's no discipline. Mhm.
How to put a car together in 20 minutes. You know,
Yeah.
James says I've been banned from videos. I have Tourette's. I've always said if I was going to be inflicted with any disease, that's the one I want.
was,
Any-
was it
What's
something
that?
about Mary when they went to the ballpark and she's like, fucking shit, goddammit, motherfucker. Whoa,
Beep, 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 beep.
Right, calm down, people. Calm down.
A little delayed. We're a little slow.
Right.
Yeah.
So Plastic Still Garage says, I lost a lot of content because of one of those Amazon mics
Yep.
between turning off and just flat poor quality. Yeah.
That's true.
This is probably my 7th mic, and I go through them like mad. And I'll look at it and go, fucking junk, and throw it away. And they're $20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
they're not expensive. I actually have a 2-channel on where me and my dad or something could use it, but I just don't trust it to not lose the sound again.
We lost you, John.
See?
No, we didn't. Well, I'm going to stick in the comments once this is over. I'll stick in the comments the link for the one I use that I finally settled on that works.
Well, you got a visual to tell you yay or nay. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's got LEDs.
Yeah.
Yep.
It would be really nice if Apple would get their
That
thumb
little
out
light's a blink
and
and you're
actually
recording.
show you something on the screen, whether you have audio.
Right.
You know, that would be really nice. I've
Like,
tried a
That
couple
would
of
be
different.
nice.
I tried a
That
couple
would be
different video capture programs that do that, but they suck. They didn't work nearly as good as just the regular camera app. So
Dang it.
Yeah.
Big dastardly.
And I have like modern day big $8,000 cameras when I did weddings, and they weren't as easy to work with as a phone. It was
Right.
it's just
they
you know,
make these phones pretty nice and pretty easy to deal with. And if you're like editing on a Mac or anything like that, you just hit, air gap it or whatever, and it just goes.
Yep.
So it's nice.
I guess I'll chime in here. Next Friday, I won't be here. I'll be in St. Louis at Firebird Fest.
Woo! You're not going to do a live spot?
If I can get my phone to work, I might. Or if I'm not busy, I don't know. I may be just too busy signing autographs. I just don't know. I'm going to make a guest appearance. We're going to show up there, say Friday night, be there Saturday. I haven't decided if I'm going to take the car. I think we're just going to jump in the wife's, fuel econo ride and I'm taking the kids too. So we're going to poke around town. So we're going to try to catch up some of the sights and see some of the things and,
Go up in the arch.
Yeah, the girls have never done that, so I want to take
That's really cool, actually.
Yep. So
pick them up.
So one other question here, James. Like, seriously, what paint stripper do you use if you don't sandblast? If I can't get into a particular area with a surfacer, I will sandblast like interior panels and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't usually use the chemical strippers because I'm always nervous about having it pool up somewhere and not getting it off just right. And then that'll eventually bubble your primer. So I don't generally use chemical strippers. I use mechanical. I use that little 3M wire brush that I put Brian onto, that little rubber brush thing for rough areas.
I have a video of using a chemical that I picked up in the hardware store, like a Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace. And what I did was I used the DA first, so I scratched up the paint, and then I brushed on the chemical, the paint stripper, and I used a razor blade. And I mean, I remember that video. It came off.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Anywhere you put it's a lot of work. No matter what you do, it's a lot of work.
Then you got to neutralize it and all that.
You got to wash it, make sure it's off.
Yeah.
James, are you asking? James, are you asking me what the brand for this is?
3M.
That's a 3M.
3M.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can buy them on Amazon. They're what, $25 or something?
Yeah, those work really good for irregular areas where you can't get like a roll lock disc into it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It works really good for that sort of thing. But I try to keep it a dry process. And if I can't get it all off, then I'll use a like an OSFO for rust conversion. I will do that, but
cool.
Well, gentlemen,
there we go.
I'm trying to think, did we miss anybody?
That's a good point, Wilder. The chemical is the good option for plastic, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like sandblasting plastic, so I don't know. So.
Really?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Oh man.
I think it was last year that I used the aircraft stripper, and it'd been probably 10 years since I've used it, and it was different. It didn't
Not the same.
perform the way it used to. I don't know if they changed something or what, but it was not up to par.
Yeah, they changed it.
They probably Californiaized it.
Mm-hmm. They took
Thanks,
all the good
California.
stuff out.
Took all the good stuff out, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, boys. So next week, maybe Jonathan will be live from Firebird Fest.
Yep. I'll try to. We'll see how it works. So
See how it works.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to make it this year. I really wanted to, but time
Boo.
was not on my side. But next year,
Yeah, I think we should all go next year.
Yeah, I
That car
believe
there
that's what I was
behind
gonna say.
me is gonna be there next year.
Yeah, next year we all go.
our horsemen of the Firebird will be there next year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of the
See about
Firebird.
getting the Mockingbird, get the pumpkin, Lamborghini, Transmirado, and you guys could be there too. That would
There you
be
go.
cool. So
So if you guys want to come next year, you'll meet all of us.
yep.
All right, fellas. Good show.
We're going to wrap it up, guys.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
Hope to see y'all next week. We'll see how it works out. So
All right.
Guys, have a good
Later.
night. Make sure you hit
See ya.
that thumbs
Good
up
night.
button. Later.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.